Hello, hello. Welcome to Bitcoin Live with the bigger picture. It's been a long time, Sid. How are you?
Hey man, how are you? Good to be here after very long time.
Yeah, I
Very,
think
very
I
long
think
time.
2 months, 3 months.
Yeah, something like that. It's been a while.
We've been migrating to UAP the podcast. But this is actually our own show, and we started with the bigger picture. So this is yeah, it's been a while, and we're gonna talk about the second Sphinx. So I'm gonna play a little teaser if you want to stick around for that, which is super cool. And then we'll build a bridge towards it by talking about the missing scientists and especially David Wilcock's.
Yeah,
So it will be an interesting program.
yeah. So excited, man.
So let's start with the teaser, the second Sphinx.
We've got a major announcement that you're making on this podcast for what you believe to be a second Sphinx.
Robert Duval told us that could be a second Sphinx. Why? Because there is the dream stele. Symmetrical correlations, like the symmetry that we saw observing the dream stele. This is the small mountain that we are observing where the hypothetic position of the second Sphinx could be.
So those would be shafts coming down from the top. Does that indicate then that the second Sphinx would be hollow on the inside if the red is showing up?
Probably yes. We scanned the first Sphinx, all the pyramids, the conjunction between the Sphinx and the Khafre pyramid, and we found vertical shafts, horizontal passages.
This has the big void as a very long and rectangular shaped void.
Yes.
There hasn't really been an opportunity for you to address a lot of the questions that some of the skeptics might have about the work.
Thank you for this opportunity, Matt. Maybe the next will be Awara, and then other megalithic sites.
Some of the skeptics might have about the work.
Yeah,
Hey
that,
man,
that's from the Matt Beall show, and we'll play some more clips from that one later on.
man, this was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
oh,
excited
man.
for that.
Yeah. So for everybody listening, go watch the Matt Beall episode with Filippo Biondi because it's mind-blowing stuff. But we'll play two more clips from about 4 minutes, I guess, each, and then yeah, we'll blow your mind, and we'll do first the missing scientist. So let's start with the missing scientist.
Yeah,
It started off with
hot topic, and the craziest topic. And yeah, let's start with that.
So it was, I think, Neil McCasland, of course, who got missing first, and then a whole lot of other people. Even in China, there were scientists missing. Well, let's start with your ideas.
Yeah, around I think 10 scientists in China are missing.
Yeah.
It's something around that number.
So what do you make of it?
Oh, yeah. So there are a lot of theories out there, but let's start with Trump's statement. Originally, when this story break, some reporter asked, well, the story's out for years now because it's happening for a long time. So, but I think recently it got attention. So some reporter asked Trump, he said he is investigating it and it is pretty serious. And then few days later, he came out with another statement. He said, "Oh, there is no connection between missing scientists and dead scientists. There is nothing to see here." When he said that, I mean, there is definitely something to see here, and Trump is involved in that, not in like missing them, but like in cover up.
Sorry, I turned off my microphone.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, this is the one where he says there's nothing going on.
There's all these missing scientists who had access to classified material. A bunch of them have turned up they're either missing or they have turned up dead. Have you been briefed yet about whether or not these cases are connected?
Yeah, I have.
And can you tell us if they are connected?
Well, so far, I mean, they're individual. We have a lot of scientists, so when you see, you put together 10, it's a lot, but it's, a very small number compared to what overall, we have a lot of scientists. I was asking that question, thousands, hundreds of thousands of scientists. So, some of them that we looked at are very sad cases in some cases. Some were sick. Some left this earth self-inflicted. Some had other things. So far, there's not a major, there sometimes is a little bit of a connection anyway, and you say, oh, this is a terrible thing. But so far, we're finding that there's not much of a connection.
Well, there's not much of a connection. Solved.
Yeah, obviously there is no connection. Why will he plead guilty? Because I think he's definitely involved in that, in the cover up, and he knows who is doing that, and there is something sinister going on behind the back.
And then, do you have any personal, idea what it might be?
Okay, so first you have to look what these scientists were working on. Most of them were working on UFO related or like secret technologies related stuff. So we are already in conspiracy territory. So so like I've read, look, my personal opinion is just like based on what I read outside online, because we don't know, right, exactly what is happening. So a lot of the theories I read, which I don't think they are there, but for example, one theory is the time traveler from the future coming back and killing these scientists for some reason. That's a theory I read. I just laughed at it because I don't believe that. This is stupid. The other one is aliens are doing that, which actually I don't think is fully bullshit. It is possible because there's like a old TV series V where they get rid of the scientists first to
Yeah.
to control the planet, right?
Well,
So
not only V, now that you mentioned, you also had the three body problem, and that's actually where the same thing happens. They take out the scientists
exactly,
first.
yeah, yeah. So also there is a possibility that, which is more rational, that these companies, the deep state,
Yeah.
they have interest in our current financial system. And if these scientists are successful for what they were doing, they will lose a lot of money. So
Mhm.
whenever some scientist is closer to get free energy, they get rid of them.
Yeah, makes sense.
This is like the most rational one, I think.
Yeah.
But God knows what's happening. But there is something serious happening.
Yeah, my take is, I lean towards what you're saying, but you can sort of throw it in three buckets, right? The first bucket would be what people like Ross Coulthard and President Trump, and I think even what's his name? No, it doesn't matter. But they say it's unrelated, it's just coincidence, and we got so many scientists working all of the time that you can always find some who die or commit suicide and draw patterns. So that's one bucket.
Yeah, right.
And then
Also, just need to know they are not dying. They are like either committing suicide or
disappearing.
getting disappeared. That's a big difference.
Yeah. And by the way, for the people who are listening, go check out UAP the podcast, because they did some excellent shows on these missing scientists. I'll also link them down below. And then the second one could also be that these scientists are sneaked away or spirited away to work on these classified programs, right? That they disappear or are killed, with parentheses, like that are actually not being killed, but spirited away into these dark black projects, that they are too close to the truth and that they're allowed to work, but in secret, to continue to work in secret, either by the deep state or other groups within the deep state. And then the third bucket would be the bucket that you just mentioned. And then I think within that bucket you could also say that as I see it, you got different factions fighting each other. So maybe the faction that was pushing for disclosure was leaning upon these kind of scientists to push for disclosure, right? That this disclosure movement that we are part of, that these scientists were actually the leakers, or some of the leakers, to this faction that is pushing for disclosure, and that the deep state is now fighting back by killing them and taking out this faction and sending a message to other whistleblowers to, stay away and stay out of it.
Yeah, but they were not even whistleblowers, right? Most of them. There were one or two, but most of them were not. And
Yeah, but they could leak in secret, right? I mean, we don't know.
well, anybody could do anything, right? But
Yeah,
that's not like a justification. Also, like the way they are missing, I remember two of the uh, incidents of missing scientists. One was the girl who was hiking with
yeah,
a friend, and then she disappeared.
yeah. A little bit like David Paulides. David Paulides actually did a recent video on German missing German physicists, like new ones,
Yeah.
who also just disappear into thin air.
Yeah, and the second one was like amazing. So this was a female scientist who went there with a friend for a hiking and suddenly disappeared.
Yeah,
Weird. Second one was a male scientist who left his phone at his home but took his gun and hiking shoes again. He went to somewhere and then disappeared completely.
interesting. So there's two hiking disappearances.
Well, no, he wasn't going for hiking. I think he had like a hiking gear.
Yeah, okay, but that's a
Like
hiking.
the hiking shoes and stuff, so it means it could be like because it's more comfortable, so that's why he took it. But yeah, he went there. This is very insane, right? The two incidents like that and nobody knows where they are, and
Yeah,
especially the girl one, because there is an alibi that the person who looked around and then she disappeared. Is it
yeah.
like is it like alien abduction is also possible, right? Because humans can't do that unless the alibi is lying. That's a whole different story. But like if he's telling the truth and she disappeared, there is a possible of abduction, interdimensional abduction or alien abduction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and William Neil McCaslin that's also a strange story, right? Because I think the official story also that Ross Coulthard is telling is that he never left the house and he disappeared.
Yeah.
So he just vanished.
Yeah, the missing scientists ones, they are vanishing. They are not like not leaving any trace out of them. So and like it is very weird. Like, okay, 1 in a billion person try to go off the grid, but like 10 people in the same field doing that stuff, it doesn't make sense. It can't be a coincidence, right?
And
So,
and also remember, because there was another group of scientists who also disappeared, right? Because on the MH360, 360, sorry,
yeah.
those were all scientists that were working on what's it called? God, what's the name? Room temperature semi-conductivity.
Yeah.
That's it. So they also disappeared into thin air, right? I mean, the plane vanished.
Yeah.
Whatever you may think of it, the plane vanished, including the scientists on board.
Yeah. And it's still a mystery, right?
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so go on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I actually wanted to.
Okay, regarding MH360, I just want to say there's like an actual conspiracy, and then I think Deep State launched their agent who was there to misguide everyone about this topic. And his name was Ashton Forbes. I am pretty sure he's an agent and he's spewing something to misguide everyone. There is something really happened over there, but after analyzing a lot, especially the videos he's batting on, there's like crazy stuff, right? I don't initially I was believing him, but then I saw his behavior and it looks like he is working for the deep state.
Yeah,
And then suddenly he got popular because he was not the first one who was talking about this plane. There were a lot of people, but this guy got so much attention for same thing what everyone else is talking about, and that makes me believe that there is like a special push around him to make him popular, to send him to different podcasts, especially nutty podcasts like us. Not he was not on our podcast, but I'm talking about the people who are like us, who believe everything. And then he got popular, and then now you can see like uh, what he's doing is insane. I
yeah,
don't
no,
know
I
my
mean
thoughts.
that's a legit possibility, right? I mean, I do think there's like spies or disinformation agents is the better word.
Yeah.
So And you are right. I mean, we you and me and also UAP the podcast, we talked about it many times that there is a push on YouTube and on X and on other places to get this information out. So if you want to control the narrative, then you would push certain accounts over other accounts, right? So,
And
but
this is like old story, right? This has been happening for years now. It's just they changed the medium, but like they are doing this misinformation campaign for a long time, for decades, and we have like a proof of it. One name comes to mind when you talk about misinformation: Richard Doty. He was doing the same thing, and everybody was believing him.
yeah,
And same thing, I think Ashton Forbes is new uh Richard Dory. But yeah, I don't have any proof for that. It's just my analysis. I'm not gonna waste my time on that guy. But I'm
yeah,
just saying be very careful with these people, with anyone.
no, that's fair. And but the plane disappeared and it hasn't been found, and there were
Yes,
these
plane
signs,
did disappear.
right? So those things are
No,
true.
but there is one more possibility with the plane, which it did not disappear. What we think, maybe it turned its transponders off so you cannot detect it, right?
No, I think
And then those scientists went somewhere, and there was no alien technology, and those videos are fake.
no,
Those
I
bad
think
people. I'm
I
just
think
saying this is
well,
also a possibility.
yeah, I have to go over it again, but I think they ruled out that possibility. But
Exactly. That's why I'm more concerned, because if they're ruling it out, it means there is something to it, right?
yeah, no, but I mean they ruled it out with evidence. But anyway, I have to go over it again because it's too long ago that I
Yeah.
forgot what it was. But
Yeah, well,
anyway,
that was not even a topic. It just come to mind. But like regarding coming back to missing scientists, like yeah, scientists are missing. Also, yeah, maybe somebody's teleporting them, right?
yeah,
Because teleportation is not fiction. It is possible theoretically. So maybe they have created a device and they
yeah,
just
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, and I mean the thing about portals is becoming more and more a reality, and teleportation, right? I think it was last week that I forgot which article it was, but that human teleportation might also become possible, right? That it's that they're working on it. So yeah, who knows, right? This
yeah,
was, by the way, I don't want to play it because Dave Politis has very strong copyright.
yeah. Then we are not gonna play it. Yeah, we'll just discuss it.
Yeah, but basically he has been making the connections between missing people and hiking, people in forest who disappear like in the wink of an eye, right? They turn around and they're gone. And there's like different groups who disappear, but one of those groups who was significantly overrepresented is German physicists
Yeah,
who go hiking in the woods and then disappear. It's really crazy when you say it out loud, but
yeah.
that's so go to Can-Am. Can-Am. Wait, I'm gonna zoom out.
Disappear.
This one, Can-Am missing project from David Politis. Yeah, and who knows? Maybe he's also a disinformation agent, but
Yeah.
I think he's legit, and yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, again, like I don't mean to say that even for Ashton Forbes, I'm not sure, right? That's my opinion. Same with David Plaitis. There are a few people I actually trust, but yeah, not 100%. I don't trust anyone. Like, but like if I will say something like Red Panda Koala, I like him. I think he's a genuine guy.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we should make the bridge to yeah, David Wilcock, right? Because he's also connected to this
Oh
whole
yeah, that's
story.
like this is very personal to me too, David Wilcock.
Oh, go.
Yeah, so while you open the creators, I'll just say like my original step into this world were uh, were based on like the work of two people. One was David Icke, and the other one was David Wilcock. Both Davids. Uh, so I've been like listening to them for a very long time, and I've actually followed David Wilcock's journey for a very long time. Let's play this, and then we'll talk about
I'll repost it right away.
it.
This is true, folks. You need to stop this shit. Some things I don't mind talking about. I don't like talking about this. What the hell are you doing, dude? You're going to lose. You're not going to win. It's inevitable. We already know because the future timeline is fixed. This particular timeline that we're on leads to your defeat. There is no getting around that. You are not being in integrity, but you don't care. But if you don't do this, we are screwed, man. You think this is all natural? You think nobody's coordinating any of this stuff? You think I want to talk about this? You think I want to be up here on this fucking camera talking about this shit? I'm sorry. Why was I waking up under hypnosis? Why was I walking out the door of my house in the middle of the night hundreds of times as a child and I couldn't remember where I was going? And at the end of the thing, they just make me walk back to where I was, and then the memory is lost. And I don't remember what happened, but now I do. Now I do. Right? There's a resurrection there, and he comes up and he holds out his hand like this, and Agent Smith shoots at him. And all the bullets come down. And that moment was very powerful. You know, the villain Agent Smith is very, very powerful. So that moment where the hero is able to transcend death. Sorry.
Oh boy, man, seriously. So, notice one thing in his all these streams. They are not old streams. Most of them were new. Some of the clips were old, but like most of them are very recent. None of them was personal. He was specifically talking about the timeline is fixed. We know what's gonna happen. Don't do a mistake here. If you choose the evil path, you will be in mess. And then there is like countless videos of him out there where he talks about there is only one way of going out of this world, which is through natural causes, or like the causes beyond your hands. Like, for example, you die in an accident. That's still a natural cause. It's not the only thing you can't do in this world, which is like take your own life. And his whole thing was that for a very long time. And he was a very peaceful person in the sense that after every stream, in the end, he used to do meditation, a group meditation on his YouTube stream. So he was not one of those guys who will take his life. This was his main message, and he knew all the consequences. If we do that, what's going to happen? And the chances of him doing that are zero. To me, it's zero. Okay, maybe 1%. Because sometimes you lose your mind. I can't rule out everything, but very, very, very low chances that he will take his own life. And regarding, he did some mistakes. So he was a very, I think, kind-hearted person, and he believed everyone. This was, I think, his main mistake. If anyone goes to him and tell him a story that this happened to him, he was gullible. He believed that. Like one of those guys was Corey Good, who actually fooled him. And now I think they are back together. But like Corey Good, we know in his deposition by himself, he said that he made his own stories. But then David Wilcock faced the consequences for believing him because he was the one who was promoting him. And that's how they messed with him constantly. And then there was this group of like scientists. There was like a company who came to him and they told him like, if you invest in our company, we have blueprints for alien technology and we're going to make our own jets, which are based on anti-grav technology. And he put everything on that company, millions of dollars. And that's when his downfall started, because that company for years wasn't able to do anything, not even a prototype. They were always fooling him that, okay, we are almost near the prototype, but they didn't do anything. He lost everything. But again, even after losing everything, I don't think that was enough reason to take his own life. One more thing was happening, and I want to specifically talk about that. That there are a couple people on internet. They were internet trolls. They are not trolls because we know who they are. They do like live stream. I'm not gonna name them. They made their life about David Wilcock. Try to show the world that David Wilcock is an evil person. He's a scammer. He's scamming everyone. He was not. But those guys, I think, are directly responsible for his death. Even if he takes his life, I'm going with the probability now that 1% of that probability that he took his own life, where he lost everything in that company, and then those people who were constantly trolling him on internet and saying that he's a scammer, he and destroyed his mental health, they are directly responsible. Criticism is different from making your own life about someone and attacking someone.
Yeah.
I criticize everyone. Yeah, I was criticizing Ashton for, but that's not my life. After that, I will not even talk about it. I don't even directly talk, like tweet him or like tag him or anything, because I know, like, even if he is an agent, I don't want anything bad happen to him. I don't want to affect his mental life, like mental health.
Yeah.
That's the right way to do it. You criticize and then you move on and you just focus on yourself and like focus on the right things. But those guys who made their own life about this one person, their day and night, and all their streams was about how David Wilcock is a scammer and how David Wilcock is like taking your money and fooling you. That's not the right way to do it. And now I want to tell them that you have the blood of David Wilcock on your hand. You will sleep every night with this thought that if you haven't done that, maybe he would have been alive today. You took away this guy from us. And I have so many criticism of David Wilcock as well. I think he was doing some stupid stuff, but that doesn't mean he was a bad person. And this is the message for all the people out there who are just targeting one person. Don't do that, because you will end up with this karma. And on that, after you are dead, you will answer to David Wilcock and you will answer to God for what you're doing. So be very careful. You don't want to be a cause of someone else's death.
I think that's a very good, solid advice and morally sound. I think, when I wasn't that familiar with David Wilcock. Actually, how long have you been following him?
I've been following him since 2011.
Wow, that's a long time. So you got a good impression who he is. I mean,
I know him from like earlier days. So that's why I want to specifically talk about him, because he have made an impact. And by the way, a lot of the things he was saying, I knew he was bullshitting. I think either believed it or not. That's one thing. But there was a calm in his voice. And then there was like, I didn't feel any malice to it. I know, like, for example, he also used to believe that he's like a reincarnation of some 18th century. I forgot his name, but he's the reincarnation of that and those things. But I know he's bullshitting, but still, it doesn't affect me, right? I'm just listening to him. It's my choice either I believe it or not. If I decide to give him a donation, it's my choice. He's not scamming me. It's my choice. I've spent money on a lot of streamers anyway. Like I give super chats to a lot of people, or like a lot of super chats I give. So that doesn't mean that that person scammed me. I like him, even though he bullshit sometimes, but he was a net positive to the world, and he helped a lot of people. And his message was about peace and unity, and even among religion, he was. Even though I think he was like kind of Christian, because he also believed in a lot of the things, but he was very close to Christianity. But I noticed that he, in his streams, he referred Judaism sometimes, he referred Buddhism, he referred Islam as well. So his message was about unity, to bring everyone on one platform to fight the evil. And I also believe that there is an evil out there who is affecting every single one of us. So and they want us divided. And the only way to fight it, first we have to forget about our past, unite against that evil.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. You divide and conquer. It's like it's an age-old strategy, and it works really well.
Exactly.
And I agree. When you listen to him, and I've only recently started listening to him because of what happened. You don't detect any malice in the way he presents himself and the way he talks in his voice. Like you can read a lot from people's voice and how they carry themselves. And I would be very surprised if he's like a malicious person. I think it would be highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Uh,
He wasn't a malicious person. He was attacked constantly by
yeah.
malicious people. But one more thing I want to say, I have listened to the 911 call where operator 911 operator is saying that there is someone out there who has a gun, who is saying he doesn't have money and he's going to shoot himself. Go, and this was like the main point of that 911 call. I know he had financial trouble, but not that bad, because he owned few places. He still had his stream going on. He had like 500,000 subscribers. He
Mhm.
just made good money from ads, and then there were like when I used to go to his stream, there were constant super chats going on. So yeah, he was having some problems, but he still was making enough money to survive. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's true that he owned like $1 million to the tax US, whatever the company is, like US, the people who take tax out of it. So he owe $1 million tax. But even if you owe a tax to government, that's not like the big deal, because you can always make arrangement with that. Like, I don't have
Yeah.
money right now, but I want to pay it in installments, or I want to take a loan and do stuff like that. So his financial problems were not that bad. They
No.
were bad, but not bad enough to take your own life. And I don't think there are people in United States who take their life, who are especially that famous, will take their life because of money. And if their whole life's message was against suicide.
But we did have this clip that you sent me,
Yeah,
which you can explain two ways, right? You can explain like, okay, this was another person in his circle who died and committed suicide, which is very strange.
very strange.
But let's say that person died because I think he was his autobiographer or his co-author,
Autobiography, yeah.
and so maybe he was so sad because of that he also took his life, right?
No, nobody is that sad, man. To take your own life for your own biographer, not happening. Especially for a guy like that.
Yeah, but they did seem close, and I think he is a very sensitive person, right? I mean, that's
No, his message was like, because he was like a very firm believer. Again, there is a disagreement with him, that he was a firm believer that if you take your own life, you will never be reincarnated to this world,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you will ruin your whole future,
No, I'm,
like
I'm just
future lives.
just playing devil's advocate here, but
Yeah, but to rebuttal to that, like, if you are doing that for all your life, spreading this message,
yeah,
I don't think you will risk everything for these bullshit problem. And these were bullshit problem. You can always resolve them. So there
shall we,
was something happening, and he have a history of, like, he used to tell people that he was being hypnotized when he was a kid,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then sometimes he gets. So yeah, you can hypnotize someone and make them do stuff, and hypnotism is not like a fantasy.
yeah, yeah,
It's a fact.
yeah. Wait, shall we play this one?
Yeah, yeah. Let's play that.
What we see here is a lot of interesting things going on, and it's a good thing. So, oh my gosh, it's sad to hear Winfrey just passed away. Bright butterfly wing. That is so weird, because last night, I was lying in bed and thinking, wouldn't it be sad if Winfrey passed away? He's the guy that wrote the Reincarnation of Edgar Cayce book with me. Last night I had that thought. I am not kidding you, and now you're telling me this. Lotus Girl says, I can't listen to your comedy. Well, sorry. Everybody really likes it. A couple people don't, but it's not very often. I think you'll be able to make it. I think you can make it. Anyway, a lot of people like it. Wow, so yeah, he was my co-author. I did not know that he passed away, but thank you for telling me.
So, wait, we'll play this one right after.
No, yeah, but before we play something, look at his reaction. He
Yeah.
looks, yeah, sad but not devastated. He said, "Okay, yeah, my biographer died."
By the way, his voice sounds very much like Jordan Peterson. He has a very nasal kind of sound.
Yeah.
So the first time that I heard him was like, oh, it's like he sounds like Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, but he was way more popular before Jordan Peterson was in the limelight. So he's like the OG. His voice is OG.
Okay, this one ties sort of into what we were talking about.
I love this. 10:16. The reason my Father loves me is that I lay down my life only to take it up again. That's the ascension. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down on my own accord. I have the authority to lay it down and the authority to take it up again. This commandment I received from my Father because he's an ascended being. Again, most of us can't do this. You don't get to resurrect. If you lay down your life, you're done. So please don't do that. Please don't be stupid. Okay? It's something you never want to have to go through. And again, natural is the only way to go. But anyway.
Yeah, so that's sort of to make your point that he was against suicide and taking your own life.
And this is just one clip. I think all his life, because I've been following him, he was constant about this message. He was constantly saying that. By the way, before he was dead, before he committed alleged suicide, he said that his life is being threatened and I will never commit a suicide.
Yeah,
which is weird, right?
I mean, I totally agree with you on this. I think something very weird has happened to David Wilcock, and it happened almost at the same time that these scientists are disappearing. Plus, a lot of other things are happening around the world, geopolitically, but also, Epstein and the UAP disclosure, or whatever you want to make of that. But it's really strange, and so I did a little bit.
He was one. Yeah, sorry. Before we go there, he was also one of those very few people who were involved in the first UFO disclosure by Stephen Greer. He was present there, so he's like a very old guy from there.
Yeah, and so I did a little bit of digging and research into who he was, because I was not that familiar with him. But it's very interesting because he's actually also connected to the Edgar Cayce Foundation.
Edgar Cayce, exactly. That's the guy. He thinks he's the reincarnation of Edgar Cayce.
Yeah,
I was forgetting the name of him.
And Edgar Cayce, of course, is connected to the prophecies of the Sphinx and Egypt. That that it would be around this time that revelations would come out. Yeah. And I think also with these disappearing scientists that are connected to UFOs and high strangeness, and David Wilcock, also making prophecies, right? I didn't know, but apparently he thought he was the reincarnation of Edgar Cayce, and he had these hypnosis or sleepwalking, and also the healing. He was a healer, so apparently he also healed people, just like Edgar Cayce. I don't know if you know, but Edgar Cayce. Woodrow Wilson actually consulted Edgar Cayce on a regular basis, and many high-placed individuals in around the turning of the last century. So Edgar Cayce was extremely influential, and Edgar Cayce also had these hypnosis spells that he wasn't aware of his prophecies and his healings. He did most of those while he was out, so to speak, and he was from very humble origins, Edgar Cayce. But Wilcock also has these connections to, he thinks he's the reincarnation of Cayce, and Cayce thought he was the reincarnation of Ra, and Tyra or Tara was supposedly, according to Cayce and some other people connected to these mystery schools, sort of the survivors of Atlantis who went to Egypt and instilled their knowledge, and who built these pyramids and the Sphinx, and put the sacred knowledge under the right paw, and then hid it for the moment that humanity is ready to receive it. And Wilcock was also connected, or not connected, but approached by the Edgar Cayce Foundation, the Association of Research and Enlightenment, who sought him out because they also thought that he was a reincarnation of Cayce. So, and of course, we also got Chris Bledsoe, who, because one of the things that you said is like with the trolls was very interesting. Well, first of all, trolls are awful people, right? That you hang up your ego on bashing other people.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got two types of trolls. You got trolls, you got people who make a living out of it, or who do it because of, they have no sense of personal self-worth, so that they need to bash somebody else. But you also have, of course, trolls like psyops, right? These bot farms that are created to dish and bash people who are actually speaking the truth.
Yeah.
So, but when you, for example, when you listen to this clip, I had it lined up because it's very interesting. It really ties into this story, because Chris Bledsoe also made this prediction, right, about the Sphinx, and we think he said that there would be a revelation around Easter. But listen to this.
And something, we're not going to wake up on Easter or whenever that time happens.
Yeah.
I'm torn, by the way, because for 8 years I wrote and talked about this alignment being in September or somewhere in the fall, because that was the date given to me by some people into astrology. And then they come back right when I go to write my book and say, oh, we made a mistake. It said Easter. And I thought, well, that sounds plausible because the lady's always coming around Easter. I have this insane experiences every year at Easter.
Are you still having them?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you still speak to
every
this,
year.
and you think it's the same, the Virgin Mary, Hathor, Demeter. You think all of these?
I think it's the Sophia, the wisdom, the Holy.
So what I actually wanted to say with this, first of all, there's the overlap with Cayce and with Wilcock, because they're basically all three saying the same thing about Egypt, the Sphinx, and this higher knowledge, and also Christianity, right? They all three had a connection to Christianity, even though that their predictions were not always Christian, right? Because Cayce was sort of conflicted about his own prophecies, because they are about reincarnation, they're about stuff not connected to Christianity. So he was sort of like he was conflicted about it. And I think the same is with Wilcock, and also the same with Bledsoe, right? Because some of these things are even prophecies and those kind of things don't always align with Christianity's teachings. So they were conflicted about their own prophecies. But in this particular video, it also seems that these deep state actors or factions are actually doing things against these people who seem to be very nice, and like what you said, they seem to be a little bit gullible, because I think they're probably so open-minded and so in tuned and open and nice to the universe that, like you say, they might also be susceptible to the forces of evil, and that they easily are manipulated by these groups as soon as they are sought out. And I think with Bledsoe, they also sort of put false information into his head in order to discredit him. And I think you see that happen over and over, that things that might actually be true, that they are sort of contaminated by disinformation agents in order to throw people off the scent or off the trail, right? So it's very interesting. So actually his original prophecy was for September, and then they made it about April, and now nobody believes him anymore, right? So that's very interesting.
Yeah, but I would just want to say something regarding this reincarnation belief. I don't believe that any of them are reincarnation of anything. I think what's happening, let's go back to David Wilcock, because I know him the most. One thing about him, that he was channeling a lot of entities. He was one of the channelers, and I do believe in channeling. I think there were some things, because I don't know what they are, who were sending him crap messages like that. You are incarnation, and he was gullible. He started believing that because he was hearing that from some interdimensional being, or even just from CIA. Maybe CIA found out a way to channel something. This is also a possibility, right?
Yeah.
They were giving the same message. Okay, you are this. You look like Edgar Casey, because there was some similarities in their look.
Yep.
So you are that, and this is what you're gonna do, and I am the Ra, because he was talking to Ra anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a high possibility that there is something out there who is sending those messages. That's why
Yeah.
like my biggest recommendation to anyone: don't fall that channeling trap. If you start hearing that voice, shut it down immediately, because the first time you hear something, you have an option to shut it down
Yeah.
just by saying no, I don't want to believe in that. Because if you fall into that trap and if you start following that path, you are messed up, because it's not the good entity. Probably some demon is trying to message you, maybe Baal or something, right? Baal or Bolak doing that. Do not fall for the channeling trap. Channeling is
Well,
evil.
I'm agnostic on it. I don't know. Maybe you're right. But who knows? These people kind of seems to believe that these
No,
entities.
I know they believe it, but I'm just saying
I know.
this is this is like, and I'm not saying the channeling is not possible. Channeling is happening. It's just like you will end up on a very bad place. So don't even fall for that trap.
And then, and even if they are real and true, you become a center point of evil forces, right? Because as soon as they find out that you can channel entities, then they want a piece of it and a piece of you. And even if it's a good thing, you will become you'll get on the radar of deep state groups that want to use you and abuse you. And
The thing about good is it's not gonna contact you. They don't need to contact you because you are already a part of good by not being contacted, right? You have to do good. Not no good entity gonna come and tell you to do good. This is like built in your template, because
yeah,
we
but
already have a template. Any entity is contacting you is an evil entity.
but we know from the Bible that some of these prophets were directly contacted
Prophets are
by
different
demons.
story, right? There are no more prophets are coming up. Even from Christianity point of view, Jesus was done. Even from Islamic point of view, Prophet Muhammad was the last one. So the prophet, forget about, you are not a prophet. That thing is over. Jesus is the only one who's gonna come back and save us. So stop believing this bullshit that you are. And by the way, if you do it, just go and see what happened to every channeler in the world. Nothing good happened to them.
Well, anyway, but what I want to say is from with what you also see. So you got remote viewing, Project Stargate, and all these kind of and Grill Flame and Central Lane and then later on we learned from what's his name, the guy who still runs these CIA. I forgot what's his name.
Helperduff?
Now, wait, give me 1 second. I'll look it up right now. I got this. He has this really Skip Atwater. Sorry,
Skip it.
Atwater.
Okay, yeah.
In the interview, he sort of gave up, that there are like at least 5 more of these programs that are, black ops, that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
And with remote viewing is, of course, a sort of, you're tapping into something, right? And you also got the telepathy tapes with these autistic children with apathy that they can't speak and that they are sort of, going through to a hill where they meet each other and share knowledge.
Yeah.
And then you've got these projects, these military projects where they round up these talented kids, which show potential, and then they train them. I mean, that's sort of the story that Jake, what's his name? Jake.
Jake Barber?
Jake Barber. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Jake Barber. Jake Barber talked. I'm getting old.
We all are getting old, man.
You got all these stories and Michael Harara with that spaceship that rounds up children and all that stuff. So there are efforts by the deep state to interact and influence and collect these kind of people. And I think when you look at Wilcock's, he there might have happened something in his youth. I don't know him well enough, but maybe he had maybe he has been contacted in his youth by either the deep state or by UFOs or higher entities. Who
He
knows?
openly says that he's been contacted by them and he's been also threatened by deep state. So it's not even like a speculation. These are his own words. So how true are they? I don't know, but he says that all the time. He don't say that anymore, but he used to say it when he was alive.
And all three, so Bledsoe, Casey, and Wilcox, and many others, right? There were many others. They all predicted this sort of, this new age, this age of Aquarius, this new knowledge, this golden age, this time where knowledge, secret knowledge is revealed. And I want to play this clip because it sort of ties into that message. This is from Daniel Sheehan. And Sheehan is, of course, a famous attorney. He was also with the Iran-Contra Gate and, with Nixon and the taping. He was connected to all of those things in a positive way, right? By bringing it out into the open.
And I'd heard that Crane Brinton, who was the chairman of the Department of Intellectual History at Harvard for like 30 years, and he was going to be doing his last lecture, and he said, I have come to realize that our human family is right on the brink of its next step in biological evolution. And the key factor that's going to differentiate the next species from us is this evolution of this faculty that is able to directly and immediately experientially access a certain vibrational frequency that exists in the universe, like light or like sound, but that there's an extraordinarily subtle bonding phenomenon that bonds every single ultimately irreducible integer of matter in the entire physical universe into one unified harmonic whole, by means of which we can access this experience. And when one has this experience, and that you lock into this unitive phenomenon in the universe, and it can download all kinds of information to you non-linearly, like seeing or hearing.
So people like Wilcox, they were and Casey and Bledsoe, they're sort of talking about sort of the sun and the planets undergoing some kind of change, and that it will change our DNA, and that paranormal stuff will become sort of normal, and that and commonplace, and that we really going into such a world where this stuff is actually not so special anymore. And then if any of that is true, I don't know if it is, but Daniel Sheehan is not just anybody, right? He was like a very serious, highly connected person who was all like I said, Watergate, Iran-Contra, Pelican Briefs, right? All these kind of high class cases.
High class, they're classified, right?
Also classified. Also classified. Yeah, definitely also classified. And then when you look at the pyramids, the pyramids are insane, right? So let's go into the pyramids.
Let's go.
The time is right.
Yeah.
Look at this clip. I found it and it really blew my mind. It's very short.
Great Pyramid is located at the center of land mass on Earth. Not the center of the Earth, the center of land mass. Now, the only way you can put the pyramid at the center of land mass is you have to have a polar orbiting satellite. If we were to do it today, a polar orbiting satellite that's orbiting this way, and as the Earth spins on its axis, you're taking swaths of data and you're calculating the land mass, and then you're going to say, okay, this is the center point for land mass, and you put it there.
So the center point for land mass being you take the surface of the Earth, what percentage of it is covered with water, where the ground is, and then you find the center of where the most ground is, and that's where the pyramid is.
Exactly. The next thing is taking all the average heights of all the peaks on Earth and then dividing that to get the average height and making that the height of the Great Pyramid. You can't just randomly calculate those numbers, okay?
That's the average height of all the mountains and the peaks on Earth?
That's right.
Wow.
The Grand Gallery, the latitude of the Grand Gallery inside the Great Pyramid leading into the King's Chamber, the latitude are the exact digits of the speed of light in meters per second. You can't just randomly calculate that one. Great Pyramid is.
So that's pretty mind-blowing. And then if you consider like the Piri-Reis map, the famous Piri-Reis map, I'm not saying that you see Atlantis on that map, but one of the things that is proven is that the center of the Piri-Reis map was the Great Pyramid of Egypt.
Yeah.
Right? So why the hell would the Piri-Reis map take that as the center of its map? Unless it was very special.
Yeah, but even if you don't like consider that Atlantis, but they definitely have Antarctica in there, for sure. That's like a fact.
Well, yeah, the opinions are divided about it, right? Because
I don't care about those haters anymore. That's Antarctica.
Okay, yeah, well, that's actually what I
Dude,
meant.
there is a landmass there. Like, what it could be?
Yeah, well,
what's their argument?
They say when you look at sort of the shape of the Piri-Reis map, what people assume is to be Antarctica might actually have been, or is probably South America, because they bent it down there, and then it sort of follows the coastline of South America when you look at it.
No, that's just like they are making shit up. That's not what it is. South America. Why there's like a big gap between South America and North America? That's like Antarctica's location.
Nah, yeah, okay. Anyway, let's not go into that. But the Piri-Reis map does have.
Yeah, I'm done with all these haters. They can go F themselves.
Yeah, there was actually.
We live in this era where they are the cringe one, they are the fringe one. We are on the right track. Aliens are controlling everything. Scientists are being missing. UFOs are being seen everywhere. This is the reality. Accept it. Nobody cares about your, fringe theories or criticism anymore.
Oh, by the way, there's a really cool Korean series called Glitch, which is about UFOs and UFO cults, and it's super good. It's really good. Go watch it on Netflix. It's fantastic. But anyway, that's just a recommendation if you want to watch something.
Yeah.
This is the proof that we have of the pyramids, or sorry, the Sphinx, the second Sphinx.
Yeah. Before we go there, can you give me the background of the second Sphinx, especially for the for the listeners?
Yeah.
Because like without going directly into evidence, first we need to know what second Sphinx is and how it came to the story.
So you got, of course, the Sphinx that we all know, and that's the one which turns out to also be hollow. That's something that we will come to. That's also the work from Filippo Biondi, and of course, what also Edgar Casey and Wilcock and all the others have been saying for a very long time, including time traveling children in Russia who have also claimed similar stuff. But when you look at this map, you see on the one hand you see the Sphinx that we all know, and on the other hand the Sphinx that might be hidden behind underneath a mount, and we'll go into all of that. But it's connected to a god, and the god is called Aker, or Aker. And some say it's Kurti, or Kurti and Aker are sort of connected. But Aker was sort of the god or the personification of the horizon, and he was depicted by two lions. And he was always depicted by two lions, and one guarded the eastern gate and one the western gate, or the western horizon. So one was looking at the sunset, and the other one was looking at the sunrise. And together they formed the horizon, and the horizon was super important for the Egyptians, right? Because they believed that the sun personified, the god Ra. And the pharaoh itself, right? And the pharaoh would sort of rise and go down into the underworld and then rise again, right? So it was sort of a sun religion. And so this god protected that journey into the underworld. And on all the texts that are known from Egypt, he was always depicted by two lions. And also when you look at archaeology, the buildings of Egypt, or the hieroglyphs of Egypt, or the text of Egypt, you always see two lions, which later became two sphinxes. And he is two lions or two sphinxes, not one lion. And this one lion that we know of, or this sphinx, but we believe it's actually a lion because it aligns with the star sign of Leo, which is also connected to the prophecy of Bledsoe, because he says, the star Regulus from Leo will align with that Sphinx, which is actually a lion. But then there's one lion missing, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this discovery might show us, that there is actually a second lion, and it's right under your nose when you look at it. So
yeah, I also want to see like a real photo if you have of it. But
well,
we'll go there. Yeah,
they will show it. So these will be 2 clips of 5 minutes from Matt Beall. So bear with us.
We gonna play a whole clip, or like we're gonna stop it in the middle, because I don't want to copyright strike from them.
Yeah, we'll take the risk. I think they will.
No, I think the best way is like after 30 seconds or 1 minute, we'll pause.
Yeah, but then we have to do it like 5 times.
That's fine. It's better.
Okay.
It looks like there's something there above ground, but you're saying
now we go in detail in the presentation.
Okay.
And we can see. Look, we watch very in detail this slide. Segment A is parallel to segment B. Then segment C is parallel to segment D.
Right.
Okay. If we connect the first Sphinx to the second Sphinx with segment GH, we can see that while segment A is parallel to segment B, C is parallel to D, the length of A over C is equal to B over D. Okay. Then E is equal to F. G over A is equal to H over B. So we are finding precise, geometrical correlation, 100% of correlation.
So, okay, that's then the first segment.
Oh, yeah. So there is like some geometry involved, and that looks very like convincing to me that there is something to it. That's not just a random geometry over here.
No, definitely not. And at that exact same spot, sort of where this alignment is pointing, there is a hill, as you will see, which has almost the exact same dimensions of the original Sphinx that we know, in height and size. Yeah. And strangely, that hill has never been, researched or looked at it. Because it's kind of obvious when you think about it.
Exactly. Okay, I have a question. Like, why would Egyptologists hide it? Because it's not like something they could hide. I think they could use it to make more sense. But anyway, let's go to the next one.
Yep.
Wow. In this symmetry.
Okay. That's big. So there could be something there.
It could be something, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe yes.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay. That's huge. So you scanned it?
We go.
All right.
Okay. Then, right. Okay. The next one. Next slide. Okay. We go slowly because there are a lot of correlations. So we move in the angle. In the angles. The angles are very simple. Alpha 1 is equal to alpha 2. So the angles are the same. Alpha 3 is equal to alpha 4. And alpha 5 is equal to alpha 6. Why? Because A is parallel to B and D is parallel to C. So the geometry is well known.
Sure.
Then, okay.
Are these by chance Pythagorean triangles, or are we're going to get to that?
Yes. Okay. Now we go.
Okay. All right.
Then we see. Look, we are observing two squares. The footprint. I call it the footprint in a satellite. In the satellite field, the footprint of the Khafre pyramid and the footprint of the Cheops pyramid. Cheops pyramid is bigger, the footprint of the Cheops pyramid is bigger with respect to the footprint of the Khafre pyramid. Another slide. Okay, and we can see that the area of the footprint of the Cheops pyramid is equal to the area of the triangle of the blue triangle, and the area of the footprint of the Khafre pyramid is equal to the other triangle, the purple triangle.
Wow.
Exactly the same.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wild, right?
Yeah. So yeah, again, geometry makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still have the same question. Why, if by the way, it looks real, everything is making sense, but why Egyptologists are hiding that? Because it's not even related to aliens. It's just like it's a different god, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe something is hidden not under the Sphinx that we know, but under the Sphinx that we don't know.
Yeah, but even if you know that there's a Sphinx, you can release that. Just don't allow people to go near it. You can, the way they do it with the pyramids now.
Yeah, but maybe there is something when people become aware that there are actually two Sphinx, that it unlocks a secret in the Egyptian text that then suddenly become obvious. Once you realize that there are actually two Sphinx and that that it's actually connected to this particular god. I'm not sure. I'm not an Egyptologist, right? But
exactly. This is like this is what I'm saying. That's like an obvious question why they're hiding it. But let's go to the next step. I'm convinced by the geometry, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, once you this was super convincing, but there's more.
Just the fact that the area of the middle pyramid and the area of the triangle that connects the center point between the two pyramids and the Sphinx are equal to each other. Just that alone is pretty mind-blowing.
So area 1 is equal to area 2, and area 3 is equal to area 4. And we began just correlating the position of the first Sphinx to the position of the hypothetical second Sphinx. And all these correlations rised and are symmetrical correlations, like the symmetry that we saw observing the dream stele at the beginning of the presentation.
Okay. Yep.
We go. Okay. This is
so now we're going to the hill. The hill that they never excavated for some reason. And when you look at the hill, you think
this photo is insane, by the way.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, how could nobody come on, have the idea that, maybe we have to look into that hill over there, right? It's like a very obvious hill.
Yeah, it's very obvious.
Anyway, they haven't done it, so here we go.
Is the small mountain that we are observing where the hypothetic position of the second Sphinx could be. This is the mountain. This photo, Damiano went in situ and he gave me this photo. Okay.
So is that, you're going to get to this, I'm sure, but are you suggesting that the second Sphinx is underneath that mound, or that it used to be a part of that and above that mound?
Okay. Here we have to do some considerations, Matt. Okay. That small mountain has a height of approximately 55 meters. Okay. If we move to the first Sphinx, the Sphinx is a bit underneath. It's not above the surface of the Giza plateau. It's a bit down. Begins a bit with a depression, Okay.
So the first Sphinx is at lower elevation than this mound.
Yes.
Okay. As it relates to sea level or to the ground?
I don't know.
Okay.
And maybe we have to study this, what you are saying. Yes, it has sense, but I don't know.
Got it.
So basically what he's saying there is, yes, the Sphinx could fit underneath that mount. That's what he's saying. The only thing is, the only thing that they were sort of discussing or talking about was that that the Sphinx that we know is at a lower altitude.
Yeah. So yeah, because you're European, so you're like a better translator. Well, now I understand that. What he meant by that, because I wasn't sure it was like underneath or up there. But yeah. So basically he's claiming that it's underneath that mountain and it was covered up by this mountain.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. Wait, there's a little bit more. Wait, I have to go back because there's one last bit that's actually yeah. So it's he's claiming it might very well be underneath that mount.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Begins a bit with a depression. Okay.
So the first Sphinx is at lower elevation than this mound.
Yes.
Okay. As it relates to sea level or to the ground?
I don't know.
Okay.
And maybe we have to study this, what you are saying. Yes, it has sense, but I don't know.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
And so probably the second Sphinx is under that mountain, that small mountain.
Okay.
Because it is high. It has 55 meters of height with respect to the background.
Okay.
There is the small mountain. I just put some photos. Okay.
So do you think that that mound is just a natural formation or just a natural, like, what is that? That's just limestone, I guess, that's sitting above the surrounding area.
It is, that mountain is composed by solidified sand.
Okay, got it.
Huh?
Got it.
So it's not bedrock, it's solidified sand.
If it was bedrock, I guess the whole thing wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But, right, it would have to be sand. So that makes sense.
Yeah, this was a very important part. So thank you for saying because like what Beall was saying, like if it's like bedrock, if it's rock, then it doesn't make then it's just rock.
Yeah, that's just like a stupid assumption. If it's bedrock, yeah. So now it makes sense. But even then, like, is it formed naturally or?
Yes, well, that's of course a question that they can't answer because then they would have to do more research.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's like an important question. Like, did somebody hide it or happen naturally?
Well, you know what it reminds me of? Well, it reminds me of a couple of things, right? Remember that we did the one on the pyramids of where was it located? In Eastern Europe. God, what was it? Shit, I'm really getting old. Pyramid of
Bosnia.
Bosnia, yeah. Thank you,
Bosnia.
thank you. Yeah. Was late yesterday. Yeah, so the pyramid of Bosnia, right? And that pyramid, and some people claim, of course, that it's not a pyramid, and it's not just one pyramid; it's a whole series of pyramids that's there.
Yeah.
But it's covered underneath a mound, and but it was not only covered underneath a mound. All the hallways of that pyramid were sort of filled with solidified sand. Right, they had to excavate all the pathways of that pyramid because they were all filled with sand. Mm-hmm. And remember, there's another place which is also covered in sand, and that's Göbekli Tepe and Karapan Tepe. Right, those were also mounds which are sort of solidified sand. So and they sort of with the Bosnian pyramid, they traced that. If I remember correctly, they traced that sand filling back to I think they said like 20,000 years ago, something like that, because they placed the pyramid. The Bosnian pyramid was 30,000 or 33,000 years old, based on the carbon dating of leaves and stuff that they found in the cement of the blocks, the cemented blocks. So they carbon dated that one, and that also corresponds with the temple that they found in Indonesia, right? That they're also disputing that it's not a temple, the one that's in episode 1 of Graham Hancock's Netflix series, which if you haven't seen it yet, go watch that series right now, because it's amazing. But that temple that they found there, they also trace back the oldest layers of that particular temple, if it's a temple, but I think it's a temple, was also sort of 30,000, 33,000 years old. But sort of this hiding underneath sand thing that you're talking about, that comes later. That's like 10,000 years later, or maybe 20,000 years later. I have to look it up. But something or someone took the effort to hide gigantic monumental structures underneath layers of sand for some reason.
And it's just not one place, it's happening all around the world. But one thing I will say regarding pyramid dates, I go with that hypothesis where it says that they are 30,000 or 25 to 30,000 years old, because this, like the most recent Leo constellation on the sky was like 10,000 years ago, and before that it was 30,000 years ago. And so a lot of people think that it was not 10,000 years old, it was 30,000 years old. And Egyptologists can go F themselves. I don't believe that they are 4,000 years old.
Absolutely. And so basically what Graham Hancock and others are doing is they're also dating these monumental structures based on the position of the stars, as you pointed out, right? I think it's called astrophysical dating, or they have a term for that. But how the stars were aligned, because these structures are perfectly aligned with the star systems and
Leo constellations.
So, but I was also thinking maybe they didn't hide it underneath the sand. Maybe they protected it from something by covering it with a layer of sand. Maybe it was protective, right, instead of hiding it.
If it's not natural, because there is also a possibility that global flood happened after the pyramids were built. There's a possibility that after the flood, natural processes just made a mountain on top of it.
That's also
a miracle.
So, but they found more, right? Because Filippo Biondi is, of course, mostly known because of his synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography that he developed, right? And that they also used for the European Space Agency and all those kind of things. And this is what they found underneath both sphinxes. So this is not just from the new sphinx, but they found the exact same thing underneath the original sphinx.
While we are doing this podcast, my computers are processing. So this is one of the scans that we are doing. We have several scans, and they are going more precise now. So what can I expect? That now we are seeing a few pixels there. I wish to see the sagoma of the second sphinx there. Why? Because we are observing, you are watching those red stuff that are going down. There we are watching nearly the same shafts that we have measured on the first sphinx. So if the symmetry is maintained, the same things that we are observing on this first sphinx, we should observe it also here on an hypothetical second sphinx.
Sure.
Okay. So
by the way, what you're seeing on the left-hand side, that is sort of the mount that we saw, like the picture of the mount. So they did try, like on those 3 spots, you see it from above. They did those measurements, or they sort of.
So just to be clear, the first photo is of original one, and the second one is of the second Sphinx.
No, so the one on the left is from above. So picture
Okay.
from above.
Oh, it's from the above. Oh, it's the same pyramid. Oh, sorry, same Sphinx.
Yeah, and the one on the right is sort of like a slice where you can see the shafts underneath it.
Okay.
Those are 3 shafts that we are measuring, like that.
Okay, so those would be shafts coming down from the top. So does that indicate then that the second Sphinx would be hollow on the inside if the red is showing up as?
Probably yes.
Yeah. Huh.
The alternating of red and blue, that's something that we have to discuss in detail, Matt. Look, a shaft is composed by inside hollow, and then there are the compound of the shafts, which are very hard. That if the tomographic line approaches the wall of the shafts, you see it red. If we move it like that, we can see it blue, hollow inside. The first one is hollow because we have other tomographies that shows us this, and we are now building a multi-layer 3D of that thing there, and we are working on that. So to rotate things on.
Have you looking at?
So what he's basically saying is that the red is sort of like a structure, which is sort of the outer layer of what is actually a hollow shaft, because they have sort of like more measurements that show that these things are actually hollow inside. But sort of the redness points to the fact that these are huge structures that go kilometers down into the ground, just the same as with the pyramids, the Khafra pyramid that they did, and the other structures underneath the Giza plateau. But they have more.
Have you looked at the first Sphinx to see how it would look compared to this image on the right?
Yes, and we are doing it. Okay. We are comparing the first Sphinx and the hypothetic second Sphinx.
Okay.
But on these results, for now, I am, I don't know, we can be, we can have a 80% of, I don't know, of
confidence.
Confidence, yes.
Okay. And so the images of the first Sphinx, do they also show shafts and any chambers beneath them?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And we discussed this on other podcasts, and we have shafts on the first Sphinx and shafts on an hypothetical second Sphinx.
Okay. Yeah. Let's keep moving. Is that kind of the? What do you have more on this?
Just to say that we can watch on this preliminary result that from the let's call it shaft number 3, the bottom one, the bottom shaft, there are also horizontal passages, because we have it on other scans. So now we are observing where those horizontal passages are going. And they are symmetrical on the horizontal passages that we have estimated on the first Sphinx.
Okay.
So there is an incredible symmetry between the first and the second.
And so
basically, there's a symmetry in the structures underneath these sphinxes, and they have these horizontal shafts. So not only vertical shafts, more horizontal shafts that sort of connect to the Giza plateau and probably also to the other sphinx, right? So, and that connects to these stories from Casey and Bledsoe and Wilcock, where they speak of these halls of records, like holes underneath the Sphinx, right? So we don't know if it's true, but it kind of seems like it might very well be, and yeah, that's super exciting, right? And it also fits sort of with these revelations, right? I mean, in a sense, this is a revelation, right?
It is, yeah. And
super
this
exciting.
actually answers my original question, which I wasn't expecting to get an answer, but like with our recent conversation and their explanation of like hiding it, like why they are hiding it. I think they are hiding it because the conspiracy is not the Sphinx itself, but like the cover up, why it was covered. And they have to keep it under the rubble so nobody will ask who was covering it. And then you might be able to figure out they are not 4,000 years old. They were like pre flood era and then probably 30,000 years old. And either they were covered naturally, that it definitely need 30,000. And even if somebody covered it before the flood, then it probably is 10,000 years old. So that could be a reason for covering it up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like what you're saying is that because the first Sphinx was already uncovered in the modern era, that if they now start uncovering the second Sphinx, then they, because of the sand that they will be removing from the second Sphinx, they can date the second Sphinx.
Yeah, at least. So if they can date it, even if the 10,000 years old sand, right? And then it will destroy the whole Egyptology, which is like, if they were betting it is like 3,000 BC, so 5,000 years old at max.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, plus it might also raise a lot of other questions, of course. But yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense what you're saying. Yeah, and so the next episode that we're gonna do is all gonna be about archaeology, because there's so much archaeological stuff going on right now. It's mind blowing, right? This is just the tip of an iceberg.
Yeah, this was just a trailer.
Yeah, this is just a trailer, because the next one will be filled with stuff from Peru, from other stuff from Egypt, because Egypt is like, it's just crazy. We might also touch a little bit upon the Bosnian pyramids. We might even do a little bit about underground worlds, because there's some really cool stuff there, and it's also connected to all this stuff. And yeah, I mean, it will be a really cool episode, but this one was also a lot of fun.
Well, this was very good. And to be honest, this one, we had to do the David Wilcock one, because even he was an important character, but I think I was very close to him. It was a personal relation. I didn't know him, but like just by listening to him, he always gave me something to hang on, right? That's why I used to like him. He was a big part of this Great Awakening, at least for me. He played a very important part for me to wake up.
And I think he's like a genuinely good person. I think that's the vibe that he gives me. So yeah.
Also, we need to also understand, just because somebody is a good person, that doesn't mean they cannot be wrong. They can be wrong and also a good person. They are two separate things.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the opposite is also true. Somebody can
somebody could be right and evil. Which is very common these days, by the way.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a fun episode, and it's good to be back. And then next week we'll do the archaeological episode.
Yes, so excited. We'll be back, guys, next week, and we'll try to be more consistent. We won't be taking months-long breaks. We'll try our best.
We'll try. And of course, underneath the YouTube videos, we also link our sources. So if you want to look yourself, first of all, just go to Beall, right? That's the one that we use most. But I'll also put other stuff underneath this one about Filippo Biondi. Okay.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye. Peace out. Love everyone.
Take care. Bye.